Right, now this lesson's about modifiers. It's a very interesting lesson because you'll be able to see what each type of modifier does on the same subject. But first we're going to start without a modifier, and this is going to be a bit of flair. So this is without the modifier, and this is what it shows, this is what it does. Now without any reflector on the light, this makes a nice hard light and separates the two shadows from the two objects. So this is just without any light modifier at all. Now one of the interesting things to note is that the shadow is incredibly light, and that's because without a modifier on the light it's throwing light all around the room, and light coming back from the ceiling, the sides, etc. Well, that was without the modifier. Now I'm going to do something that I never want anyone else to do. It's only because I've been doing it for years. Never change a modifier when the light's on, particularly a metal one. Right, you can break the tube and get an awful electric shock. So I'm going to put this on, which is the standard modifier, which is a basic reflector. So let's see what that does. Now, as we see, the shadows have become softer, and we get 1, 2 shadows, maybe even 3, because the light is bouncing off one side of the reflector to the other, and the shadows become much closer. So that's a standard reflector. Now we can put the famous umbrella. Now this is a white-sided umbrella. What I'm going to do, without trying to knock over the subject, is just slide it into the lamp how it's supposed to go, and then tip the lamp up. Now that's in place, let's swing it round and shine it onto the subject. And see what that does. So as we switch to the umbrella, we can see we come back to a very soft light where I can only see 2 shadows really, a dark one and a slightly lighter one. It's a standard reflector or umbrella that we would use for, a lot of people would use for fashion, portrait, things like that. I don't particularly like them because of the reflection they give in people's eyes. So that's our umbrella. Now, rotate that around again, take the umbrella off. So we'll take that away, and then we'll change it for a snoot. Now a snoot's very simple, it's a bit like it's a cone that concentrates the light. So we're going to change this reflector for a snoot. Again, don't do it with the light on, I'm only doing it for convenience. And we put the snoot on, and that just slides in like that. So we put the snoot down onto the subject, and I'll turn my little modelling light that I've got on me off, so we can all see what it does. So now we've got a snoot, it's like a cone, and as you see the snoot is making just a ring of light, and we've gone back to quite a nice hard shadow because it's concentrated the light down to one point. Now a snoot causes incredibly dark shadows, which is great, but normally a snoot would be used for causing a rim light around someone's head or a spot on a background, some sort of use like that. Right, well, that's the snoot, and now I'll take that off. And now for my favourite one, which is the big light box. Now this is the one I use the most. That's on. Close up the flap. Now we put that, and then we adjust that to the subject. And the beautiful thing about this is that the light comes from very high up and very low down, so it creates a nice soft light. So let's have a look at that one. I'll turn this light off again so we can see. Now with the standard softbox, or it's rather a large softbox, you can see it foreshortens the the shadows a lot and makes very soft shadows. This is the light I prefer for still life. Now by turning the softbox, we can use it. You can use the fall off to do some quite nice things. So that's one way of getting nice fall off. Now I prefer with the softbox bring in a black card, because I find it gives me much more control on the background. I can cut the light as I want. The bigger the card, the more I can do it. It's got a small card. If you keep it a long way away, just bring it back over the top. That allows me to do a lot more than turning the light box one way or another. Right, now let's get that off. Now this isn't easy because we're in quite a small studio. This is the studio that I use for these films. So we're going to get this one off. Again, be very careful not to hit the tube on the way off. And we're going to put what's called a beauty dish. Now this is the beauty dish. Okay, the light sits in the middle and bounces back onto the reflector and back into the subject. So let's have a look what that does. With the beauty dish, what happens is we get a quite soft shadow. It's quite nice. I'd never use it for still life because of this problem. I find it's an uncontrollable type of reflection, but on someone's face it's quite a nice light. Now with the beauty dish we can soften it down a bit because it comes with a nifty little softener that we can put over it. So let's have a look at that. Well, that's it on. It took two of us to put it on, it always does. Oops! We'll put this on now. There we go. Now, what you'll see, so now the beauty dish with the diffuser on it, it's just a little bit softer, and it's quite nice, but we do still have that, which for still life, I'm sorry, I don't like. Right, now what we can always do is modify a modifier. Now I know that sounds strange, but anyway, here we've got our standard causing a bit of flare, got a lesson on that, our standard reflector, and here we've got a roll of tracing paper. What I'm going to do is roll the tracing paper down in front of the subject. Now let's have a look what that does. And then, if I move the tracing paper closer to the subject, you can see what the light does. Now that makes quite a nice reflection in the jar. So by doing that, now you can put 2 layers on, 1 layer on. As I take it further away, you see what it does, and take it right up to the light, which makes it a harder light. But the shadow it creates is very nice. And I'll show you that again. Okay, now modifiers, of course, there are a lot more on the market. There are square ones, long ones, etc. This is just a few that I've shown you. If you've enjoyed the video, I'd love you to, just above my head, you'll see subscribe if you're on YouTube. It costs nothing, just hit that. At least I know you've appreciated the video. If not, go to mccaudle.com and look at all the others. Thank you.